it's actually carved. And we're gonna see a better example by the second pyramid. هي المزيكا دي مش هتخليكم فاهمين. ايه ده؟ انت مش كنت لسه بتتكلم عن انا قلتها لك حكمه ومش معقول. خد صورني وسط ما يشيل بعد.
It's going 2 layers. 1, 2.
Right, yeah, you can tell it was carved right out of it. I mean, that's monumental.
Yeah.
يا حبيبي.
As Yusuf said, this is to connect the upper structure with the lower foundation, with the base. It's not just building, no. They are creating a system.
Yes.
And this system must have certain connections and ways and measurements. Like
we don't understand the power of the mound, but it's mentioned in the myth of creation, the primordial mound and the primordial wood.
Okay.
And even many of the knitters, between practice gods, they are one of the titles. They are the gods who are above the mound, like Anubis, like Betah.
Atom.
Yeah, like Atom. They must have this title that they are standing above the mound. So it means that they are taking something from the mound, but the mound supporting them is kind of energy or kind of support.
And it's not just the mound and the water, there is also the state of the sun. So that's where the story of the Benben, the pyramidian shape or like the capstone, was housed on top of the mound, and in a certain time, which will be the atom, it's the midday, that this will happen, this connection will happen, and then they call it the Binu bird, which is the phoenix, the bird of fire. That it will be in the Benben, the Binu energy will enter the Benben, and the spirit of Ta-Tenin, which is also one of the knitters, Ta-Tenin will rise above the mound. Now they're talking about also another invisible activation. It has to do with the cycle. This must have been functional, and it's just to create a megalithic block like this, these lines, that means you have to lower all this part, and then you made it so perfect so other slabs will slide in just like that, and you do the math, see how great this challenge is.
Oh, what about even the stone on top of us?
Granite also?
Yeah.
Yes.
All cut on the spot.
Yeah. Finished all sequence.
This is the Grand Gallery. This is the only video I can sneak in.
That most of the Egyptologists and archaeologists believe that this is the original type of machining that they used to build the pyramid, while we are aware of the circular saw machining and the tube drill, and this also that it was actually the style that they used to quarry from the site and not to cut to it. So we will find many cases like this one the girl is hopping on, and this one. This is how they make the spaces, and then they stick the wood in it and pour the water, and that will cause the stone to crack. It's not a cut, it's a break. So this is they're aiming for one of them to use as a millstone, and they would usually start the process and then it will fail. That's why they would leave the piece. This one, for example, is incomplete, but in many other cases it was a failure technique and they wasted lots of material because of it. This one nobody touched, but that other one over there, as you can see, I'm cutting from this one to use a millstone. And then they weaken this point, they weaken that point. That first piece is going to be useless because it's narrow from here and wide from there. So they're aiming for this.
Doesn't match their expectation.
They're aiming for that piece here. So that was the way where they can use like pounding just to create this space and to break the stone after they put the wood and make the stone crack to take this block. So if they were able, and we know that the many like the basilica, the mosques, the Coptic churches. They
From the end of the
recycle the
Egyptian
stone.
times.
So we're not saying that working in stone and like granite is impossible. It's not impossible, but it's the result of the machining and the marking of the machining again, because
We can make our judgment from that.
Yes,
Like
when-
this, you can see.
yeah,
It is almost okay, but this cut is ugly, so you can see. So that is
Yes.
never can be claimed as cut
imagine
by
you want to bring
high
this,
technology.
look, that angle that is wider from there and narrower from here, and that they are all the same. Like you're not gonna find any bumps. This kind of result. What is the chances of copper chisels? Hardly
Yeah,
is.
right.
Yes.
Exactly.
But the mistakes that they do here is not it's like it's very normal for them to do mistakes in something like that, to waste lots of material while they were quarrying. And they are taking it from pieces that's already figured and shaped. That's why their work will be better. It's the same difference like if I want to carve a statue from a random rough piece, or if I'm going to have this piece shaped as a block so I can work with the mathematics. Shaping it as a block will give me much easier work to shape it, but just having it as a chunk with no
Wow, yeah.
yeah. I keep this to Abu Sir tomorrow. We need to take we can take the measurement tools with us tomorrow to Abu Sir.
And we are
We can. I will show you basalt tomorrow. This basalt
we are
stone
testing this after
after the erosion.
erosion.
After erosion, right.
Imagine.
But some cases, the beam of light is not gonna go through. One of the best results after it's there was nothing like that, because if you imagine that this is the mountain, they will never come here and they cut. No, they come here
The middle.
and to the high point, and then they cut from here
The fact.
from all directions,
Oh, wow.
and then underneath. He lives here.
Horus.
The falcon.
This is my piece.
But you're right. Your failure rate would probably be 2 to 1, 3 to 1, 4 to 1 until you
5 to
figured
1,
5 to
yeah,
1 until
at
you figured
least
out.
5 to 1.
So you would have 5 blocks to every one. So if you have 2 million blocks here, you'd have 10 million blocks
3
somewhere else.
million blocks.
3 million. So 15 million blocks should be
At
theoretically.
Let me say it in another way. In the 18th century, also Belzoni and his followers, he was hired by the British Council in Egypt and the French Council, or we can say ambassadors. They were away from policy and they were dealing with antiquities. They took 5 obelisks from Egypt. Okay, the one in Rome, the one in Turkey.
Oh, thank you.
Okay. لا تمام تمام the one in Paris. So they took 5 and destroyed 25 to figure out how they can take those 5. The first one, it was standing, and they used the easy way, ropes, and they made like a structure of mud bricks, and they tried to pull it to make it lying over. They destroyed like 5 in the first times because they didn't understand that the pressure will make
Snap it in
crack,
half.
yes, in the middle. And then they reached the idea of supporting the middle with bars of wood and steel, and that is what the first successful one. But during the transportation to the Nile, they destroyed some. So in order to take 5, they destroyed around 25.
Shape. That's not the size of the block. First thing. This is not the size of the block. But it reminds us of something we know from other pyramids, and that's why we collect pieces of the puzzle from different structures. The one in Fayoum, the one in Lahoun, where they have this satellite structure that's related to the pyramid. So I imagine this also.
Not the same number, but it's the same.
Yes, the same
style.
Yeah, the same style. The other ones are bigger, the other pyramid is smaller. But here, what I see here is houses or like a base of a device that would be housed on top here, like shrines, like bins, like basins, but they had to connect it to the mound. There is a certain energy in the mound that they needed to induct it. That's why the core of the pyramids are used from the same stone, because this is the same dolomite type of stone, limestone, that from the mound itself. So if there is some kind of energy in the mound that they need to extend into the structure, they will use it. Will make sense when they use the stone from the same mother rock. But when they wanted other purposes, like radio, like electromagnetic induction and other stuff, they used the other types of stones, like granite and quartzite and basalt. And white calcite. We still didn't introduce you to white calcite.
Tomorrow in Saqqara, I'm going to see.